Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport for a preview as Edinburgh host Cardiff this weekend, one of the three United Rugby Champions matches this weekend. Still no sign of the South African sides. They'll only begin their URC in 2022 in about 2 weeks' time. But until then, there's still plenty of European rugby action. This weekend, there has been a game that's been postponed. There will be no Scarlets versus Dragons. However, Edinburgh versus Cardiff will kick off the weekend, followed by Glasgow Warriors taking on Ospreys, whilst there is an Irish derby in Munster taking on Ulster, which will close out the weekend. So it should be a very interesting weekend of rugby, actually. And I think that the interesting thing with a lot of these games is that with the sort of schedule changing all the time, what I think is quite important is when you can play, when you do get to play, to make sure you get those games to count. Because if you suddenly are one of the teams who maybe are playing a few more games than maybe your other teams, for example, and you manage to get good results, you can kind of sort of build that scoreboard pressure. You know, you suddenly look at a log and you see a team way above you, which you think maybe shouldn't be or whatever, or you suddenly find yourself way behind. You know, yes, you can look at games in hands, but it's just funny how pressure does things to teams. And if you can make sure you pick up a couple of big results during this sort of precarious time when games are changing all the time, and find yourself in a strong position on the table, you know, that can give you a lot of confidence. So for a team like Cardiff, it's very important on the back of a couple of wins to continue that momentum. Whereas for Edinburgh, you know, they've been sublime this season. You know, they suffered one draw, one loss, and are currently sitting second on the table. So they'll definitely not want to sort of slip up against this Cardiff side. But yeah, if you look at sort of the recent form, Edinburgh have won the last 4 in the trot in the URC. Before that was a draw. After Cardiff, they suffered 2 consecutive losses, but have since gone on to win their last 2 games. But I think the problem with Cardiff is not scoring enough points, because if you look at these two teams, they've both conceded the same amount of points in the competition so far. However, Edinburgh have scored 171 points compared to Cardiff's 118. Cardiff also named a couple of big signings in the last couple of days, and none bigger than Wales and British and Irish Lions star Liam Williams, who will be joining the side next season, which is a massive, massive signing for Cardiff. But if we look at the sides for the game tomorrow, we'll start with the home side, which is Edinburgh. And for South African fans, you'll see quite a big South African contingent in this team. Up front, the now Scottish international prop duo of Pierce Schoeman and Veer Pinel starting either side of Stuart McInally. Jamie Hodgson and Grant Gilchrist are in the second row for Cardiff. Jamie Richards is joined by Hamish Watson and Magnus Bradbury, who have been very impressed with a very big physical character and very, very sort of lethal as a ball carrier at number 8 there. The back line for Edinburgh is Ben Villicott and Blair Kinghorn. There is Jaco van der Walt on the bench, though, so it's a good replacement to have. The two centres for Edinburgh are James Lang and Mark Bennett, and the wings are Ramiro Moyano, and Emiliano Bafili has actually shifted to the wing as Henry Immelman, also South African born, returns from injury and will slot back in at full back. Off the bench from the man from Scotland is Dave Cherry, Bowen Fenter, Lewin de Bruin, Glenn Young, Nick Haining, Charlie Shield, Jaco van der Walt, and Chris Dean. And really hoping to see more of Jaco van der Walt, who's one of my personal favourite players. And when we did play at the beginning of the season, when he's playing well, he's such an exciting player to watch. He is now a Scottish international, so hopefully we can try and see a bit of an extended run for him, and he can get himself back to the highest level. For Cardiff, quite a few players back as well, and a very, very impressive bench with a lot of international talent coming off it, which will give them a massive boost in sort of the latter stages of the game. Up front, Rhys Kerr, Kirby Mahal, and Dimitri Arup in the front row. Seb Davies, Rory Thornton in the second row. Josh Turnbull will captain the side. He is joined by Will Boyd and James. Both and Ellis Jenkins will come off the bench, which is a brilliant player to have with the bench, considering that he'll probably be a starter for Wales in the Six Nations, which starts in a couple of weeks' time. And then you've got the halfback combination of Lloyd Williams and Reece Priestland. The two wings tomorrow are Jason Harris, Owen Lane. The two centre pairings as well as Haloholo and Ray Lilo. Both forming quite a nice partnership there. I actually enjoy watching them play rugby together. Then you've got Matthew Morgan at full back. Off the bench, you've got Liam Belch, Corey Wachowski, Will Davies-King as the replacement front row, James Ratty, and then you've some very, very talented players, the likes of Ellis Jenkins, Tom R. Williams, Jared Evans, all international capped, and Alex Samuel coming off the bench for Cardiff. So exactly what you kind of need, going to Edinburgh. It's going to be a tough game, so to be able to have some very big names to be able to bring off the bench is very useful. However, the starting 15 needs to ensure they are still in the game. You can't ask your best players to come and perform miracles off the bench. They do need to make sure they've got a decent platform to sort of work off. And if we look at some of the sort of the important players, no Darcy Graham for Edinburgh, it's a big player to miss, but no Josh Addis for Cardiff as well. So missing a lot of players who sort of do a lot of the fancy sort of the work in terms of beating defenders, running meters, scoring lots of tries. I think Darcy Graham's got 4 tries so far this season. So a couple of big absentees, but. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But let me know what your predictions are for this game down the comments below. Unfortunately, we'll not be live for any games this weekend because I am working during the games. But we will be back with our live watch-alongs next weekend. So make sure you tune in for that. We'll also be doing a couple of cricket live watch-alongs next week when the third and final test between South Africa and India does begin. Please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Stephen. I'll chat to you soon.